studio. I learned a lot. They had they had consoles. It was an analog studio. They did a bunch of indie rock bands and stuff like that. A bunch of just post stuff and all. But like, you really needed to know your way around a studio. You needed to be technically sharp. Um, so that really helped. And then at the same time, I took another internship in the evenings at the studio called Blast Off, and they had like when I first started there, it was a lot of just a lot of vocal sessions, hip hop, R&B, pop, that kind of stuff. So I was doing dubware from like 8 a.m. and you would have to get there earlier because you have to open up at 8 a.m. So like 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then or 5 or 6, and then 6 p.m. to like 4 a.m. or whenever the sessions finish, I'd be at the other studio and then just do it over. And I was doing pretty good at both of them. I got hired at both of them as an engineer after intern GA, and at that point I had to make a decision to to completely because both I started slacking at not slacking, but I had to make compromises at both of them for the other one. So then I eventually ended up quitting Dubway. Blastoff built a new room, and they like gave me that room. They were like, "Yo, all sessions in here are for you," and they had like a deal with Atlantic Records that all the Atlantic writing sessions would happen in that room. That was Atlantic's writing room. So right off the bat, a couple of months in, I was like doing sessions with people like Wiz Khalifa, Lupe. There was a lot of big artists coming in. Drake was in there too. And this is just a couple of months, maybe 6 months into it. So it was cool. And also I was working with a lot of I was doing a lot of writing and production, like writing sessions. So because I was doing writers are fast. Like I was doing so many different sessions every day. That's how I really got fast at Pro Tools. And just had a good workflow because they're just about doing ideas, getting it out, putting on a quick rough mix, and that's it. The next one. So it was a lot of songs we're doing every day. And I feel like at some point in the middle of all of that, I met a couple of one of my boys, Billy, who's also from Full Sail as well. And I met some other people, and we're like, let's just do our own studio. So we started our own studio. This is all within 1 year of leaving Full Sail and being in New York. I started our own studio. Did some really dope stuff because I was doing so many writing sessions and stuff. I made a lot of connections in the industry, so all of those guys diverted all their sessions to me, and we just kind of kept growing from there, man.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm picturing leaving school 1 year, accomplishing all of the things that you accomplished. That's got to be just like not only life changing, but a lot of lesson learning. Is there maybe one thing that you learned that has stuck to you as like a mantra, or maybe like something to stand by whenever you're approaching a new situation?
Uh, I guess I've been pretty fortunate that in the past few years I haven't had to um I haven't I've been with one camp so locked in that I haven't had to be in a new situation,
Mm.
which is some might look at it as a negative, but for me it's a positive. Like I always have work with one camp, but like I just feel and just within that, it's more about just doing good work and being cool with the people you're working with. Make everyone feel important, make everyone feel like you're working for them. You're interested and you're vested in the project, and the if everyone's in it together, then you'll all win together.
Wow, that's amazing. I think teamwork really makes the dream work, and that goes as proof.
Yeah,
Um,
no, absolutely, man. Like, yeah, having a good team is paramount, and just being a team player as well.
hey, real quickly, bro, it looked like you got a weird glare. I think you fixed it right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like
yeah,
there
yeah.
you
I
go.
think I was seeing that too.
Um, I was gonna ask, so you're with Thugs Camp, right? Could you
Yeah.
maybe walk us through like a day with Young Thug, or like what a day of your duties might require?
I mean, we're in the studio all the time, so it could start with, and it's like different when we're in LA or Atlanta. But like, say when we're over here, like we're always in the studio. We might, he'll record whenever he feels like there's no set schedule or anything, and I just have to always be on standby for when he's ready to work.
Mm,
Um, Now because he's not recording all the time, when he's not recording, I'm mixing or I'm doing something else. Either if it's not for him, it's for someone on the label. Like there's always a project due with someone's. There's so many artists on the label. There's like 11, 12 artists now. So I'm always working on someone's project, and because I have my mix room, which I'll show you around the room in a second. It's in the same facility. It kind of really helps because I'm like anytime he needs me, I'm right down the hallway, and I can just run in and start recording, and like I'm able to switch gears pretty quick, and that's been pretty helpful for me. I can just jump right in back into mixing where I left off, and then go in and record, and just like recording it to me is like it's like second nature. Like I can, it's like riding a bike. You can just do it. You're an autopilot. You can just like that just happens. With mixing, yeah, you kind of got to get more into the flow of things and like get going. But again, like I said, I'm pretty good with going back and forth, and that's really helped.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm curious. You have like a top 3 most important Pro Tools shortcuts?
Save. Now I use the function keys a lot. So those are like my go-tos. I use the function keys for everything. So like the modes, I'll use F1, F2, F3, F4, depending on what I need. I don't think anyone ever uses spot. So F1, F2, and F4, and then with the different tools, I use the F5 through F8. Another one I use a lot is a clip gain. Obviously, that quick key is pretty useful. What are some other cool ones? Oh yeah, there's another cool one that I did recently where it's say you have like you're clip gaining something, and if you hit Shift Control and X on the clip you select the point where you've clipped, like say you've just selected a section and you clip gained it up, then where the break point is between that and the previous one, if you highlight that and hit Shift Control and X, it automatically fades it. And that's like a newer one, so I use that pretty often too. Yeah, clip gain is definitely a big one. Oh yeah, and then I also have my keys 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've changed them to be clip effects presets, not zoom presets. So I use those a lot as well. And then
Interesting.
anything that's a multi-step process that stays the same, I use the Stream Deck for that.
So with the Stream Deck, are
With
you
SoundFlow.
SoundFlow? Gotcha.
Yeah, with SoundFlow, yeah.
Do you have a favorite SoundFlow pack from a creator you use?
The track utilities one is cool. Mostly it's ones that I've made myself. Like I use a lot of Isotope RX, so like declick, deplosive, declip with someone's recorded stuff burnt, like distorted. I use those quite a lot. I use declick probably the most, and then mouth declick. I use that a lot too. So it's like selecting a region, then going to Audio Suite, opening up the Audio Suite, and I have like a starting point that usually works for me. So I have that saved. So then it opens that one, and then it commits it and it shuts the window. So all of that's in like one click.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's the future, huh?
yeah, man, it's definitely been like a real game changer. The one I'm trying to get set up right now is one to do stems, and if I get that going, it'll be amazing.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah,
It's practically an assistant, huh?
yeah, exactly. I mean, like
Wow.
that's what I'm saying. Like my assistant also is so busy that we need another assistant to help us. And like if we can figure it out with SoundFlow, it'd be great because I don't like him to be here all the time as well. Like he needs some time off too. But stems just takes so long, and now with Atmos and stuff, you just have to have stems for everything.
Right. Maybe you could talk to us. Is there a record you've done in Atmos so far that's your favorite? Is there something maybe you?
Yeah, there's a Thug song called TikTok. That was actually my first Atmos mix, and I really like that. I did that in Atmos. I went to Dolby's studio it's in Burbank, right down the road from me. And they were like, so basically, someone from the label hit me up from 300, and she was the head of 300, and she's like, "Yo, you need to learn Atmos. I'm going to set you up with the people at Dolby, and they're going to teach you and everything." I went there. They were like, "Just bring something you want to work on," and that record was coming out later that week. So I was like, "All right, cool, let's just do this." And I went ahead, did it, and like even my friends who mix in Atmos, they were like, "Yo, you did a really good job for your first Atmos mix." I really like that one. Most of the other ones I've done haven't come out yet, but they'll start coming out pretty soon.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Could you maybe give us one little piece of Atmos sauce? Is there maybe something that you think isn't?
I think with Atmos, like you got to be careful. Like, don't go crazy moving things around. Like
Mm,
just put them somewhere and just use the space. I think that's a big thing. Use the space, but try to keep things up front, and you have to like approach it slightly differently because normally you just have two speakers, and if you want something in the center, you send it equally on both speakers, and it'll be in the center. Here, you have
mm.
to like place it and get it. Like it's a little tricky getting it up in your face, but there's like ways you can do that. Just if you keep an account placement and all that stuff.
Oh, oh. Well, I want to talk about. There's a few records I've seen on your resume, and I picked these specifically for what you're credited on. I'm gonna try to go in order. The first one I wanted to ask about is Old Town Road.
Yeah. So with that, I recorded Thug's vocals on the remix.
Okay,
Um,
interesting.
Thug did a verse on there. And yeah, it was dope. It was dope to be part of a big record like that. Um, he came by the studio, met Thug, and he was like talking about how he's a huge fan because he was doing the country rap thing at the time. This was a long time ago. This is like I don't even think I think the record had maybe just come out, so it wasn't big like it is now. He hadn't even come out at the time. And he just popped up at the studio one day and like hung out and told Thug how big of a fan he was, and Thug did the record, and that was cool. I think I sent like an acapella of it when we were done.
So, could you walk us through maybe real quickly? If you record a feature of Thug like that and it gets sent
Yeah.
off, how often do you become the mix engineer? And if you're not, is there maybe like,
Um, mostly like nowadays. Uh, nowadays I'll send a mixed acapella for the most part.
mm,
Unless it's someone who we know personally or whatever. But even then, I would just still send out a mixed acapella unless they like specify they want this session and it's like going to like 40 or Mike Dean or someone like that I know. And like so, if there's like if I don't have enough time to mix it properly, like and they need it instantly, then I'll send this like with when he did that Kanye's remote control, like they needed it within like half an hour because apparently the album was coming out that day, but it still didn't come out for another few weeks. But when we did it, I didn't have any time, so I left all my plugins on. I spent maybe 5-10 minutes, cleaning it up and adding stuff to it, and then I sent it off to Mike at the time.
wow, so
Yeah,
very
but
cool.
otherwise, I'm always sending a mixed acapella. Like I'll send a regular acapella, uh, and like I'll send like one full acapella of the whole thing, and then I'll do like leads, well, like a wet leads, a wet ad libs in case they want to level them slightly differently, and backgrounds, and then a clean version of everything that I've done as well. Just because it's like if you send like an acapella, it's hard to clean it up because of the reverb tails and all of that stuff.
Gotcha. That's very very cool. And I'm also curious in terms of sending vocal acapellas. Is there maybe like a target loudness that you have that you're aiming for, or is
Uh,
it's just
I don't
dependent?
really like. I'll like as long as my reference mix is the target loss that I'm going for, because you always
Mm,
got to send a reference as well. Then I'll just mute the beat and make sure the take the limiter off and then print the acapella
gotcha.
because it's going to go through their limiter again. So
I I
uh,
understand.
and there are times when there are times when, like, when I've gotten an acapella and it doesn't, um, because they printed it with a limiter. So like when it went through my mix bus, it sounded a little crazy.
Mm.
There's a song. The song's called Wavy. It's by Lil Keed and Travis is on the remix. So when I got Travis's vocals for that, it was an acapella, and it just didn't work through my mix bus. So what I had to do was I had to bypass the mix bus and hit it right after the mix bus, and it was like a little bit of finessing I had to do. But yeah, some people do that. They like when they want more or less of something, or when it's not working, they'll like just bypass the mix bus and go straight to the print track. Stuart White, who's a dope engineer that I've like really look up to his stuff. He spoke to me about it one time, and he told me how he does it, and I was like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. Because sometimes the mix bus just it works for everything, but there's one thing that doesn't work or whatever. He just bypasses it, and it like it actually is pretty cool. So
Huh.
yeah, it's just things to think about.
Wow, that's a gem.
Yeah,
I have another song I wanted to talk about with you. I do believe this song recently was certified diamond. Um, it's "Drip Too Hard" by Gunna and Lil Baby.
yeah. My boy JP did that right down the road. I mean, right down the hallway. Yeah, he recorded it in the B room over here. It was fire, man. He did Gunna's vocals.
Hmm. Awesome. So that's
Uh,
one that was done at the studio you have then.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool. What about the song Lemonade with Don Tolliver?
So with that, I sent them Gunna's vocals,
Okay,
like
cool.
an acapella, and he had recorded it somewhere else, and he didn't like what the guy had done, whoever recorded it. So he called me and he was like, "Yo, can you fix this up?" And there were like words that were like distorted in the thing, and I was like, "Man, this is like it was really tricky." But I knew the record would be dope and big, so I just like really went in and cleaned up his vocals, added some throws, stuff like that, and then sent them same thing, a wet acapella.
Awesome. That's
Yeah,
super cool. Um,
yeah, that was a dope record to be a part of. The shit blew up.
Huge, yeah. Super catchy too. There's
Yeah.
one more record I two more records I want to talk about, but one more before we get into it. Um, Go Crazy, Young Thug and Chris Brown. Tell us
Yeah, man.
tell
That
us
was a fun project. That I felt like with that one, we knew right from the get that this would be a big record. It just felt special. Uh, they decided to do this project right when right in it was like April, like March, April of last year, or April really, when we started recording and working, and they were like, "Yo, let's do a project together," and it was really just all of us hanging out at Chris Brown's house because the studios were shut down. He had a studio at home, and he has a studio in his house, like I said. So like Thug and him just worked on a few songs. That was one of them, and then we went to Atlanta, and Thug finished the rest of them over there. It was really cool because I got to work with Tizio on that, and we knew each other. We were good friends, but like we became really good friends after that because we were working together on a project every day. And like it's crazy when you have there's not too many people that can understand what we go through as engineers when you're working with the artist of a certain caliber. Um, there's a lot of other stuff and that goes into it, and studios are not like it gets stressful at times when you're the only one working, and stuff like that. So him and me, we could vent to each other about that. We just had someone else to talk to, and like it gave each of us a break. So like when Chris was recording, he was recording Chris, and I got a break, and then when Thug was recording, he got a break, and we'd look out for each other. He'd make sure like that I had water and small things like that. Just make someone feel comfortable. And yeah, it was really cool, man. And then when it came time to mix, we did that together as well, and it turned out into a super smash record.
amazing. I think that's so awesome. I love working with teams, like I always love having another engineer around because Sometimes I gotta go pee. Sometimes I'm trying to roll up a
Yeah, yeah,
blunt. Like sometimes I just want to do something that's gonna get me through the next 4 or 5 hours, and
yeah,
it can be difficult when everything is reliant on you. So I think that's so
yeah. When
very
you can't get
cool.
up. No, for sure, it really helps. And like, and I do that a bunch with a bunch of my friends, man. Like Flo, he's one of our other engineers, and he's Gunna's engineer. And whenever Thug and Gunna work on shit together, it's like him and me bounce back and forth. Sean is another dope engineer that we work with, that I work with a lot too. And it's the same thing, man. We kind of like give each other breaks and shit, um, so all of us stay fresh as well. Because we've all done this shit where it's just one person for fucking days on end doing that, and I feel like now that the artists can have more people, and we kind of just work. You're more efficient when you get a little breather every now and then.
Absolutely, absolutely. Many brains together is better than one brain by itself. I'm very firm in
Yep,
that.
yep.
There's one final song I wanted to talk to you about. This song, one of my favorites, one that you're best known for. It's the track "Ski" by Young Thug. Talk to us.
Yeah.
How did that come about? What was it like in the studio doing this song?
Uh, Dude, it was like we were doing like multiple songs all the time, and I that was one song that I didn't know or think that it would be as big as it turned into. A lot of people like knew like it was a smash when they did it, but like it was a night where we probably did like 3 or 4 records. Thug started working on it. He was doing it. Gunna walked in halfway through while he was recording, and he just kept recording. And then Gunna heard it. He's like, "Yo, let me jump on there." And then Gunna got on there, and we were doing it in Atlanta when we were working on the project. And he just kept doing it, and I mean, they both just did their thing, and it just stuck to what it was. And then at some point, Gio's like, Thug's manager, he's like, "Yo, you should start mixing that. That's probably going to be on the album." And I like I did like I think I got to like mix 5, maybe 4 or 5 in Atlanta, working over there on my laptop. Just like didn't really have much with me over there. And then when I came to LA, I did like a out the box mix and then finessed it. And like, that's when it like, just really it was the same mix. It just, you get a little more depth, you get a little rounder low end. And then when Thug came to hear it for approval, he was like, hell no, turn that 808 up. So we jacked the 808 up, and then obviously everything else kind of starts. You need to address everything again, everything else again, because of gain staging and stuff. But it worked out, and the 808 like came out like at least a couple of dB from where I had it. But it worked out. Like that record just has this crazy like blown out sound. And yeah,
Wow. I love the
yeah,
808 in that one. That one is so good. It doesn't matter what I listen on, my phone, the car with the
yeah.
sub, headphones, it's all just amazingly powerful and very even
Yeah,
too.
we could go through that session, and I could like show you a couple of things that were on there.
Yeah, are you ready? Why don't we hop into that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Bet. Everybody in the audience, make sure you pay attention because you're about to get the sauce. In three, two, one.
All right, so this is kind of what my session looked like. This guy over here, they were actually 808 tracks. So let me put this shit down here so you'll get it all confusing. But yeah, there's so that's the main 808 over there, and then he had another one over here, and it was maybe I split it up or he had it split up. I can't remember. Is it? Yeah. And then you see this over here. It says VOG commit. That's a voice of God. Like I have the actual like a hardware unit, so I like it just adds a little more low end and stuff. So I had that, and I committed that. Um, I have them going to this parallel track over here. Just organize it a little. I've moved things around a bunch since then, but yeah, this has got just like a little bit of a guitar pedal. So this is that shit you were talking about, the upper harmonics that you can hear on a phone and stuff like that.
Mm.
Uh, the 808s are going to that. Helps it cut through a little bit. I've really just got like this on the actual track, and then there's a little bit of volume automation over here. Every time you see it dips down over here. That's every time there's a kick. There's a little bit of a dip in the front of the 808, so it lets the attack of the kick come through. And then this is going to another bus that has the Ruby on there, a C2, and a Oxford Dynamic EQ. So the Ruby is just boosting a little bit in the mids and the low at 60. C2 is just clamping down on anything, and then the Dynamic EQ is on the lower stuff, just catching anything. You can see like nothing's too crazy. Like at the most, it's like a dB. Yeah, and then on the kick, what do we have on the kick over here? There's good old Fab Filter. There's a DBX on there too, and then Spectre. What's the Pro Q doing? Yeah, just cutting a little bit of stuff over there. So yeah, the kick top is like a duplicate of the kick that I have, and that's literally just rolling off everything and the black box, and it's a parallel. And then this stuff over here that's committed. If it's committed, it was the clap had knock. Have you heard of Nocturnal?
Yeah, from DJ Swivel, his new joint, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I had on there, and like at this point, this song came out like in April of last year. The plugin just launched. So at this point, it was like literally it was the first beta version of that plugin. So it didn't have a GUI. It was just numbers and a screen, and I really liked the way it sounded. So we used that. And then on the snare, some basic EQ on there. Same shit here.
Hey, are you
Hi
opening the
hat.
plugin windows up?
Oh yeah, is it? Oh, it's not showing you that.
I don't see them. I don't know if it's there we go.
Oh, there
That
it is.
fixed it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's there's a lot of like you see the left right EQing over there, MS EQing on the hi hats. Soothe and another soothe. Yeah, a lot of soothe.
Could you maybe walk us back through some of the stuff you clicked because we actually didn't see any
earlier?
of the
Oh,
windows.
okay, cool. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, you're all good.
So yeah, here on this is the 808 stuff that I had. So this is a Ruby, just boosting a little bit at the lows. There's a dynamic EQ on there that is every time there's something that's a little too crazy, it clamps down from 140 and below, and then you see this is barely doing anything. Yeah, and then I've got this harmonics, which I haven't used this plugin in a while actually on the 808. I used to use it a bunch, and I keep changing what I use. You know what I mean? So this is on all the 808s. I think it's the same amount. No, this like you can see it's slightly different on each one. But yeah, that's just like a harmonic thing. And then I said the parallel of the 808 is going to this guy,
Nice.
which is just a guitar amp. A guitar pedal. That's the Jason Joshua trick over there. And yep. So for the kick, I was saying, got a little bit of filter over there, boosting the bottom and top as well. Got a DBX, and this is just cutting some stuff over there, and Spectre.
Nice. I'm curious on the automation you did of ducking the kick or the 808 for the kick.
It's just the front half of the and it's also that note is that super low note, so it needed to come down and make room for the kick as well.
Is that something that you did all of those by hand, or did you do like a certain portion of the grid and copy and paste it down? How do you approach that?
So what I'll usually do is I'll loop a section with the kick and the 808 playing, and if I don't do that's how I used to do it. And now for the like a lot of times my assistant Arish, when he preps the session, that'll be part of his prep. He just started doing that as well. So you loop a section and play the kick and the 808 together, and you'll be able to find it. You'll find the pocket and the groove, and you keep, usually it's like it'll be like you drag down and it'll be like a V coming back up. This one's slightly different. I don't know why I did this like this then, but it was just that's just how it is. And like I'll usually loop a section, find a groove, do it, and then copy paste it over. There's certain times where a different note you'll have to do it slightly differently, and then also what I do is like sometimes like there'll be different 808 notes. Like the lower note, I'll split that to a different track and treat it slightly differently than regular stuff. And the regular 808, it's just it just depends on how it is. So with this song, all like the instrument, like the synth, like any music stuff was just one track, and like a lot of times that's how it is. That's how you get it, because the producer will probably get a loop from someone and then manipulate that and then send you that as one track. So all the drums are broken down in the 808, but this was just one track. So I can't remember. Let's see if I can find it over here. Okay, yeah. So it looks like I had the Camel Pre. Can you see that?
I can't see.
Okay, there. So I had the Camel Pre, which I was using this a lot when I was working in the box. And I told you I started the mix in the box. And then I had a Pro Q3 in there, probably just doing some EQ stuff. And then I committed some hardware, probably the Fusion with a couple of other things. I can't remember what it was, but I committed that, and then that's what you get over here.
Beautiful. Could you walk us through what you did on Thug's vocal chain, at least in the box, and could you maybe tell us what kind of microphone you were recording on, what kind of anything like that?
Yeah, this would have been a C800 through a 1073, a vintage 1073, and then going into a TLA 100, a Summit Audio TLA 100. Oh yeah, before the compressor, there's a DBX 902 DSR.
Nice.
And that's it. That room is pretty big, and it's loud. And we move quick, so there's not much EQing or anything we do to tape. Just get a clean.
Tracking with de-essing in your chain.
Yeah, I usually do that.
How do you approach that? Are you one to go cautious so you don't ruin it? Are you one to heavy de-ess? What?
No, it's not even I said it either 2.5K or 4K. So it's not even de-essing, it's really getting out some harshness. And I just like that DBX 902 sounds really natural. I like the way it works.
Amazing.
So on his actual lead, so you see I like commit a bunch of shit. So this is it's actually pretty insane. So this is the actual vocal. I'm gonna drag it up here. Okay, so it's got all of this shit that I've committed. So there's and there's hardware shit as well. And then once it gets committed, I add more shit on there over here. And then once it hits that, then it goes to the bus with, in this case, is not much. I've got like this compressor, which is from a DSP. So like right off the bat, there's a Pro Q3 auto tune. I usually commit the auto tune. 2 instances of de-edger, which is like one's probably hitting the low end, one's probably hitting 4K. Soothe, Spiff, another Pro Q3, another C6, another SPL DSR, and a Tube Tech CL1B. And I think maybe I didn't go out the box for this. Normally, I'll run it out the box when I get here, but it looks like I might not have done it with this one. So once that's committed, then we have a True Iron on there, a 404. You can kind of see what this shit is doing. Same shit, like pulling down the mid range. That's usually what, like the upper mids. That's where I have a lot of problems. Use the Ruby, Ultramarine, and Neutron is just mainly for the exciter and some EQ stuff.
I have two questions for you. The first
What's
one,
up?
if on the vocals, is that to like tame some de-essing or like sibilance issues, or are you actually boosting with it?
No, I'm probably sometimes I boost, but in this case, well, it's just taming the upper high end stuff, which is just the spittiness.
Mm.
It's just cutting that a little bit, and then the mix is down.
And my second question, do you have like a magic auto tune number that Thug likes recording on for retune speed?
There, nah, it usually starts with the session at 17, and then depending on like when I hear the song right away, like the beat, I'll be able to tell, or when he's going, I'll be able to tell. And anywhere between 14 to 17, sometimes as low as 11. Um, he if he says more, then we'll go lower than that. But that's usually where our starting point is.
How does like flex tune or the humanize function on auto tune play into
Yeah,
that?
so I'll usually have the humanize up a little bit. I don't fuck with the flex tune at all.
Mm.
Um, I like to leave that the way it is. I know a lot of people in Atlanta mess with that, and it throws everything else off. I feel like if you were going to use that, just have your retune speed lower.
Mm.
Uh, but there's like a time and place. Like if you're listening to it, like when you're recording, I like to have everything standard, grouped, ready to go. Then when I'm mixing, I'll dial it in a little more if needed. If auto tune is catching a word weird, I might melodyne it real quick going into that.
That's dope. Dope.
Yeah, and then similar stuff on Gunna. Uh, he's been committed as well over here. Let's see where his name is. Yeah, same thing with him. Bunch of uh Pro Q, Spiff, the Edger, Tune. So that's committed and it's going in here. And then I've got this boosting the high end stuff, which is cool. The dopamine, have you used that?
I have not used it, but I've seen it more than a few times.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Wet, it's actually pretty high on this. The wet, right? Normally I have the wet a little lower. Uh,
What
for his
exactly does that achieve for you?
it's just top end stuff. It's like this Dolby noise reduction technique that people used to use back in the day, and they made a plug-in version that's actually really
Oh,
cool. And it just gets you a little bit of that top end sheen.
I think I do know what you're talking about actually.
I don't know why I have this, but it looks like I have two EQs on here,
Mm.
and like yeah, this it's just okay. Yeah, it's because there are two of these EQs. One is boosting at 5 dB at around 8K, and then this one is boosting 9 dB at 25. So it's really high. It's a high shelf boosting. I think these vocals were just really dark. I needed to like bring them out, and then some pretty intense cuts over here. Oh yeah, I remember. So the thing with this record was the room was really loud. Like there were people talking. Like in fact, like I can hear it because I did the record. Most people don't notice it, but like in the actual record, you can hear people talking in the background. Like if you solo the vocals, you'll hear like people having conversations in the room, which was like
Wow.
mad annoying. But it's just stuck in the record. There's only so much you can take out, and only so much you can do.
Could you maybe talk to us how you address a situation like that? I'm sure that a typical thug session might have 20, 30 people in it, no problem.
Yeah, yeah. At the bare minimum, there's usually more. And usually, like when you're recording, you can kind of tell people to keep quiet, and they'll do it a bit, but then they'll start talking again. And you have
Mm.
had there's only so many things you can pay attention to, and if the artist notice that you're paying more attention to the room than them, they'll get annoyed. So there's a fine balance with what I can say and what I can't say and stuff like that, and who
Mm.
I say it to. So yeah, it's crazy. So anyway, everything from there goes here. I had this minimized before, but like to the routing, and then
Mm.
there's a drum bus, all instruments, all vocals, and all effects. and that they all go out separate outputs, and then they come back and hit the, they go out, hit my Neve. I can show you the room right now, actually, if you want to switch away from this. Oh, we will come back to that, actually.
Okay.
Sorry. So yeah, it goes to that, then it hits the outboard stuff, then it comes back in through the burl, going through a couple of things on the mix bus which is called a through track, and then from there I gotta keep refreshing this. Okay. Yeah, there. So from the through, it comes in, it goes to this track that gets printed with and the limiter is on that track, and then that gets printed as well. So that gets printed to another one. So my mix for master happens at the same time. And then all my sends are over here. And these were meant to be hidden. And then these are like individual throws that come here, happen, certain sections. I've committed a lot of these. And then this stuff is just, a word here and there that has like a bunch of things on it. Like this, say, whatever, this over here is like a, probably like it's got a flanger, it's got Valhalla on it, doing some EQ stuff and that. So it's like, individual words that have a couple of things. This guy over here probably has, same shit. Got another flanger, going to a room reverb and a compressor. So it's just, these are just things that happen like on individual words or whatever. It's not like a static effect. They just come and go. They're like, I call them like throws or one shots or whatever. Yep.
Wow.
And then for the reverb, I use the Bricacity. So like when I was in Atlanta, I used the Seventh Heaven, and then the minute I came back to LA, I switched it to the Bricacity. So like when I'm on the road, I do things in the box, knowing that when I come to the studio, I'll like swap it out, or if I doesn't make it to the studio, then I'll just stick with that.
Wow, that's amazing. And I love your reverb so very much on Slime Season 2. Like all of the reverb
Slime
change.
language, yeah,
Slime
yeah,
language, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Um
That's all. That's all mostly the M7.
and it's just beautiful. I almost feel like your reverbs carry the space of delays sometimes, but they're less distracting than a delay would be.
Yeah, it's because they're not like they're there for individual, like for little moments, and then they go away.
Mm. So, could you talk to us? I see that you do it like maybe chopping up a word and putting it on its own track. Do you ever audio suite like print stuff in like that, or is it situational?
Uh, yeah, I feel like mostly like I used to do that like way back in the day. Now that computers are good, I'll just stack everything onto an audio track,
Mm.
and then if I need to, I'll commit it. But I don't like the audio suite stuff. Like yeah, that's it's the same concept. But like nowadays, the only thing I really use audio suite for is if I'm like all the isotope RX, like the RX stuff I'm doing. That's audio suited. If it's like if I need to use pitch and time or something like that. But like for individual effects, because you're never happy with just one. You want to keep adding more and like a couple of things, and how you adjust them might change based on what the next one is doing. So if you do audio suite, then you commit it and it's done, and you're stuck with it. What I'll do is I'll like put them all duplicate that piece of audio, put it on its own track, and then start fucking around with it. When I'm happy with it, towards the end, I'll commit it.
Wow, that's awesome. Very, very cool.
Yeah, we
Uh,
got computers are getting better. I got this Bryson beast machine over here. Well,
Shout
shout out
out
to my homie
Bryson.
Bryson. Yeah, so it works pretty well, man. I don't really have issues. Like, let's see, this session. This is not really a heavy session in any way. Also because I like committed a lot of things. But yeah, look at that. That's like barely any usage. Oh, it's behind you. Huh, there.
Nice. Wow.
And I've got cards on the way as well. So once the cards get put in, the HDX cards, it's just going to be a breeze.
Absolutely. Wow. Well, thank you so much for showing us this amazing session. You have a very,
Yeah, no
very
problem.
advanced workflow. I love seeing it and getting the walkthrough because you're doing certain things to a level of detail that um, is unmatched, honestly. Like, and
Uh,
that's what's really a differentiating factor in a mix by Bainz from a mix by whoever else. It's I can see the attention to detail and the care, the love, the real thought and theory you put behind everything. Very, very, very cool, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Um,
It does look a little chaotic, but it all makes sense, and the folders make it a lot more manageable.
talk to us a little bit about the folders because that's a mixed thing. Some people love them, some people hate them. What makes you like them?
Yeah, I've gotten used to using them. Uh, when I first started using them, I went a little crazy and I was doing folders into folders into folders. Now it's not as insane, but all my this section that I just showed you, the routing and VCA. These are all like my through tracks, and then these are all like, sorry, this shit right here. This is
Mhm.
like kind of where everything ends up, and then from there it goes to the summing mixer, and then there's like a master track for each one and VCAs for each one. So this kind of stuff, it takes up a lot of real estate. It's like your whole screen damn near. The, you don't always need to see that. So the ability to shut that away, it helps. Same thing with your sends. That's a lot of stuff. And this session really doesn't have that many. I usually have a lot more. I probably deleted the ones I wasn't using when I was done.
Wow.
And the same thing with the throws. This whole list of throws is like three times as big when it starts. They're just defaults that are there, and then I'll tweak them and add them, and or maybe add new ones. So just being able to like just work with your real estate and stuff like that. Sorry, I don't know if it showed the throws. Yeah, but that was there. Um, so yeah, I can show you the room right now if you want to swap the screens as well.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that real quick. Let me gotta disable boom, and let me up your camera real quick.
Swap this screen around as well. So we've got there's the Bryson machine right there. Got a couple of two regular patch bays. That's stuff that usually stays patched and I don't change it. And then I've got the flock patch bay underneath that.
Talk to us
I've
about the
gotten
flock patch bay. What is special
yeah,
about that?
that shit's crazy. You can like you don't have to deal with any of cables like this. All the patching happens instantly. Like I have there's a software for it, and like if I want to use the CL1B, I literally just you can put it on like that on bypass. You want to change the order it's in, you can like really just everything happens so efficiently. If you want, like I got like this fern stuff, like it's just crazy how you can like move like normally to patch so that patch Pro Tools into a DSer, into the CL1B, into this, into that. That's so many patch cables that you probably won't even use. You know what I mean? You won't do this regularly. But because I can do it, I'm like, I fuck it, just keep adding shit. And like, you see all this stuff, it's like bypass, but I can just unbypass it real quick. I can change the order, just any of that, which, patching, you won't even think to do that. So you can like
Wow.
use analog with the same um, ease as using plugins.
Wow. That's very,
Then
very
I,
cool.
Then I got this Apollo 16, which literally is just being used for computer audio and for the DSP. Um, so everything leaves I have a Black Lion modded HDIO and a Pro
Nice.
Tools Matrix Studio. The Clairphonic, I used to use it a lot more than I do nowadays. But anyway, everything leaves hits the summing mixer. Then from there it goes to one fusion, and then from the fusion it goes to the Portico master bus processor. And then from there it hits the Burl Bomber, and then goes back in.
Wow.
I also have this McDSP APB16, which I love. I just got one of these guys. It's a demo unit right now from Wes Audio. Sorry, it's called the NG Bus Comp. That thing's a beast, and it's fully recallable. I've got some 500 series stuff over here, some Mogs, this tree audio compressor from Bryson, JDK, some HRK EQs, and then that's the Little Labs Voice of God that I was showing you.
Yeah.
And I've got this color palette that my homie made for me. That's just a little Bluetooth thing. I don't really use that DSO because I've got the 902s.
Yeah.
Yeah, monitor wise, we've got some Ocean Ways over there. We've got the Barefoot 26s and the Amphion 118s. And then
Mm.
over here, this is like a rack of compressors. So it's the Better Maker bus compressor that Bryson just lent me to try out. This VNE is from Fern, a Hazel rig. It's a prototype unit as well. Now it's in production, but they sent me this prototype a long time ago. Really dope. I gotta get this back to them as well. That's just a CL1B. I've got these Slate Dragons, which don't really get used much. Distressor, only one of them gets used. There's 1176. There's like a SDA, and then germanium. And yeah,
Wow.
that's pretty much the room, man.
That is amazing. That is one hell of a lineup of gear.
No
Um,
problem. Yeah, man. It's some fun stuff.
uh,
And we're moving to a new studio. It's like we're in construction right now, but I'm gonna like downsize and like, get rid of the things I don't really use, and try to make sure everything I have is like something that's recallable. Like Better Maker or West Audio and stuff like that. I'm really into that shit.
amazing. I I'm curious. Being in your room, how long did it take you to really get comfortable in that room? And how does it affect your workflow moving between like LA to Atlanta to like maybe you go to Miami or whatever?
Yeah, I really struggle when I'm not in my room, just because I've gotten so used to this room. Like, I mean, I like I don't trust. I'm like I have to do a lot more like car listens and check on headphones and all that stuff. With this room, I've gotten pretty comfortable. It took a few months to like dial things in. Like when I first got it, I had the Apollo 16, and I didn't really like the way it sounded. And then I got the HD, the Blackline modded HDI, and I really like that. Then individual pieces of gear. Like before, I had a different summing mixer, and I had something else. So like it's just about finding things that you like and work for you, and then once you get that, it's like it's been a while since I've got some new gear. I've had all this stuff for a while, but initially it was like a lot of trial and error and finding what works for you for your workflow, and then just going with that.
Wow. That's awesome, bro. We've had quite a few questions in the audience. I'm sure they got a lot more for you. Do you want to hop into the
Yeah,
queue
let's do
now?
it. Let's
Awesome.
do it.
Let's pop over to the chat. Let's go back up a little bit. Let me read what some of this is saying, and I'll tell you where we can start.
I can't read that. My bad.
Somebody says, Bainz, do you have any workflow tricks for exporting those quick? I'm not sure what those are. Ryan, could you explain what you meant by that? Um, let's see. Someone says, "Damn, he had noctonal back then." Oh well.
Yeah, I was one of the first. I think it was me and Tizio were like the first few people. Like Jordan, like Swivel's a really good friend of mine. I've known him since 2010 or like 2012 maybe, from New York. So anytime he has a new plugin, he hits me up for like, just because he wants like feedback and opinions and stuff. And we a lot of stuff with the GUI. He would be like, "Yo, what do you think?" He'd send me a couple of different options. I'd tell him what I think and stuff like that. And he's really dope like that. Like when he's developing a plugin, he'll like talk to a lot of people in the industry that are working, that are actually using this stuff every day, and get their take on it. And yeah, this I don't even I wish I had a picture of what it looked like back then, but it was literally a black screen with a bunch of numbers, and he explained to me what everything does, and that's how I used it.
Wow. Someone asked, Bainz, are you auto aligning or phase aligning your 808s after you bring them back in from printing?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Definitely that's super important. Especially when I did this. This was the older. I think when Pro Tools came out with 2021.6 or whatever version came out this year, they became a lot better with that. But you still have to line it up, and that's super tricky. Like and even vocals, anything that you commit, you have to come back and make sure that it lines up. Like before, you'd have to line it up a lot more than you have to now. Now it's
Mm,
like a couple of samples here and there, 10, 20 samples at the most. Before it was like, a couple of hundred samples that you'd have to move it around.
wow.
But whatever, this newer version of Pro Tools, they fixed that. I wish you didn't have to do it at all. I wish it was just completely automatic, but they haven't gotten that all the way there yet. I did. That was one of the things that I told them. Like my rep at Avid, I'm part of like their, I don't know what you would call it, but like they constantly ask people who are using Pro Tools for feedback. That and delay compensation was like my one thing that I wish delay compensation was infinite.
Mm,
Um, and it just never had an issue.
most definitely, man.
Yeah.
Um, I think relating to my first question, I think they were asking Baines, do you have any workflow tricks for quickly exporting your stems?
I don't, man. I really don't. Uh, there is. We were talking about this earlier on. There is uh, a script for SoundFlow. There's also Bounce Butler that a lot of my friends use. I haven't used it because a lot of my like I'm hybrid, so I can't offline bounce things. For my friends that offline bounce, it's a breeze. They do it like really quick and easy. But I have to actually print everything, and there's an APB involved. There's a bunch of things involved that can't do offline. But I'm gonna figure out the SoundFlow script for stems, and I'm gonna get it right.
Amazing. Super dope. Um, let's see. Our next question is how does the Matrix Studio converters compare to the Pro Tools Carbon converter?
They're the same. They're made by the same company. They're both pretty dope. The carbon, the difference is carbon has pre's as well. Um, I don't think does the Matrix. To be honest with you, I haven't really used the Matrix much. I think the Matrix might have pre's as well, but it just doesn't have XLR. Um, they're the same. The Matrix is just more channels, and it doesn't have the cards.
Mm.
And the carbon has like the cards built in.
Our next question says, how do you start with reverbs? What are you looking for? Are you prioritizing what you dislike or do like?
Uh, Same concept that most people have. Like I'll use a plate, a room, and a hall, and blend them in. So small, big, and large kind of thing, and just take it from there. That's my starting point. And then from there I just go.
Oh, I think he disappeared.
Sorry, I'm back.
We're back. Alrighty, bet.
You see me? Yeah.
Yep, we're all Gucci.
All right, cool. Yeah. So yeah, I'll usually and I have a couple of starting points that I like, especially on the Bricacity, and then just go from there.
So, our next question says, where do you see the future of hip hop in the next 5 years?
Man, I think there's a lot of like the future is bright. Streaming has changed the game. Budgets are back, and hip hop is the new pop. It's the new number one genre, and until that changes, I think the future is really bright.
Oh,
There's a lot more material. People are putting out material a lot quicker. People are working a lot quicker. I think I think there's definitely a lot of dope stuff on the horizon.
amazing.
I feel positive and I feel good about it.
Hits by Harv asks us, let's talk about your process on mixing live drums. How heavy on samples are you relying? Are you relying more on the room? Is there stuff pre-printed, or are you starting with raw stems?
If it's live, it's usually like raw. I'll get the Pro Tools session, and then um I usually add a sample in for the kick and for the snare. But it's just adding it's just helping the actual the original one. I don't change the sound. It's just like I'll find one that goes with it and then just emphasizes whatever that kick or snare is lacking. The past few live recordings the past few live drums that I've mixed have all been actual live recordings, like on location. Um,
Wow.
there was an NPR Tiny Desk that we did, and then he did this other live show at with a band, and then this other live show that he did with at the Viper Room for Adobe. Those were all like recorded live. Like the NPR Tiny Desk one was outdoors, so there was no room involved. Like, I had to make it feel live and still impactful. So
Mm.
it was a bit of a challenge, but the result turned out really cool, and I was happy with it.
Wow, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Um, I, I'm curious. Whenever you receive a session that you might not have recorded on, how do you approach like keeping it authentic to the previous engineer stuff while still enhancing it?
It depends, man. It depends on who the artist is or what they're doing, or what they're not even who the artist is, how well I know them and how. Um, so I'll give you two examples. There's this artist that I'm working with right now. His name is DC the Don, and he really is like married to the rough.
Mm.
So with that, I've been keeping what he has and then adding to it. You know what I mean? And if there's something crazy, I'll go ahead, like if someone's doing like 40 dB of compression on something, I'll go ahead and back that off and just make room for it. But like a lot of times, like that's the sound that they get married to, so you just have to fix it and work on that. Then the other stuff, like the other artists I work with that I don't record, are like forgot it stuff. I'll usually just completely wipe, like clear everything, just leave auto tune on the vocals and then start from scratch. I usually
Interesting.
tend to get a better result doing that, but a lot of times when people are married to the way things sound, your hands are almost tied.
Wow. I very much can relate to that. Everybody seems to suffer from demoitis pretty
Yep,
strongly. So
yep. Like most this last album we just put out, more than half of them are rough mixes because he was, I mixed everything and he just wanted it to sound a lot more like the roughs, and there wasn't time to do notes and everything, so he was like, whatever, just put out the roughs. So it's not mastered, it's not mixed, it's just roughs that got put out.
wow.
Yeah,
How do you approach a situation like that where like
I hate it, but it's not my decision.
got
You know
you?
what I mean? It's not my call. I think that's really important when you get to a certain level and you realize that you're working. The artist is the most important person, and you just are there to help them realize their vision and their art. And you can't take it too personally. You can't make it about you. Otherwise, they'll just constantly just keep chewing yourself up.
That's a gem right there. That's a big gem.
Yep.
Um, DJ Umair asks, how do you master your tracks? What's your strategy / favorite plugin to get the job done?
I don't usually master my own stuff. It usually goes to a mastering engineer, but I
Mm.
just put a limiter on there for the client, to just a limiter on there.
I was curious. Um, do you maybe have a target loudness? I seen on your Instagram story you were at like -4 LUFS
Oh
the other
yeah, no,
day.
that was a joke. That was this last project that I was working on. That the guy like wanted it super loud and everything, and
Mm.
the West audio compressor, it usually starts on bypass, but this time it wasn't bypassed. I don't know how, and I didn't realize that. And I was like, yo, how is this so loud? The mix was actually 5 loves, and when that was in the chain, and it was like sounding like it didn't lose too much of its, you know, uh, I guess characteristics, but it got really loud, and I was like, that's insane. I got to post that picture. But I mean, normally when I'm mixing, half of that, like I'm at like 9 or like 8 if the rough is really loud. But I don't like getting mixing super loud because you lose a lot of it. Just to be honest, it depends on the song and the genre. If it's like got big, heavy 808s, you won't be able to. That won't translate if your mix is like 6 or 5 loves, which is crazy. You just won't have that low end.
That's another gem right there too, for sure. Someone asks, what are some free plugins you'd recommend?
The Saturator from Softtube. That's a good free one.
Nice.
I'm gonna add in some plugins that are cheap as well. There's this one called True Iron from Kazorg that's pretty cheap and good. I guess IK Multimedia, the Clipper, that's pretty cheap as well. What's free, man? I guess the is that Sound Toys Devil Lock, that's free, right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, you might have to pay for the deluxe version, but yeah, that's a good free one. What else is free? I mean, anything good in life you gotta pay for, man.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. So yeah, there's not too many. I'm sure there's. Oh yeah, Camo might be free actually. Oh no, do you have to pay for it? There's some cool Acoustica ones that are free.
Oh, like Coffee of the Pun, I think, is one of them.
Exactly, that's the one. Yep. Exactly.
Amazing, so cool. Hits by Harv asks, favorite piece of gear you've sadly let go of?
Huh. Everything I like, I've usually kept. I'm trying to think what I've gotten rid of recently. Oh yeah, I got rid of the Oversteer. That's also just because I wasn't really fucking with it. So I don't know. Anything that I like, I usually tend to keep.
That's like me.
My DBX 902s aren't in the room right now, just because I needed to make space for the new computer. But I'll get them back. They're just lying right outside.
Amazing, cool. Someone asks, what was the hardest lesson you've learned in your time in audio?
I feel like what we were talking about earlier with the rough and all, like when you realize that it's not about you, it's about the artist. That's the most important thing. And if you need to, especially when you're mixing, like try to make sure you don't stray too far away from their vision. Like you might think that it sounds better and it's hitting harder and it's louder and all of that, or the backgrounds could be better, louder or anything like that. But if the artist wants it for a reason and it's their song and they're used to listening to it a certain way for so long, then you've just messed everything up when you go and do things like that. So that's been, just dealing with demoitis. I feel like that's a big thing.
For sure. I know we discussed you have a Bryson rig. Somebody asked, what kind of specs are on your computer?
It's 10 cores, and it is let me give you exact specs right now. It's 10 cores, but they're all running supercharged at like 5 point something 5,000 something gigahertz. So it's actually like running like sorry, 1 second, I'm gonna find this email from him. Okay, here it is.
Perfect.
So it is 20 thread 5 point, which is 10 core, 5.2 gigahertz, 128 gigs of RAM. and then a bunch of internal drives and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the main thing. The 10 core at 5.2 gigahertz, which is what makes it super juiced. And especially when you're using a lot of like Acustica plugins and stuff, the actual the clocking speed is more important than how many cores you have.
Interesting. Very good
Yeah.
tip.
Yeah, so I've had this computer since I want to say when was this? August. Yeah, so
Wow.
not that long. It's pretty recent, but I needed it for my old one was just like given up. It didn't have much life left in it.
That's awesome. You got the Bugatti of computers.
Yeah, this shit is insane.
C Wavy asks, which plugins from the Arturia effects collection found its way into your recent mixes?
The bus, I think it's called the Bus Force. That's really cool. The V76 preamp is really cool. The chorus is really good. And also the plate reverb I like a lot. The the Citral EQ, their STE, that's pretty cool too. Yeah, that whole FX2 collection is really dope, man. Like you would think that Arturia is like a synth company, but their plugins are surprisingly blown me away. Every one of them is really good. Like the chorus is the Dimension D. The SDA, that's really cool as well. I use that a lot, and like I did like a little video for them explaining it, and I talk about this and that too. All of these features have like this advanced mode, and it adds all these like other just cool things that you can't do with the hardware version, or even other plugins like that. Like you can like EQ the input, the sidechain input into the compressor, so you can like crank. Like I fucking cranked mid range up by like 9 dB.
Wow.
So you don't hear that, but that's just like the compressor just acts a little differently and stuff like that, which I think was pretty cool.
Amazing. Very cool. Somebody asks, what's your favorite strain of weed?
I'm a sativa person, man.
Nice.
I've actually been like the past few months. I took a little bit of a break. The first time in my life. I think from like just mid the month, like from September, October maybe. I like cut back on how much I smoke. Like I completely quit for a few months, and then just past few days I've like started again where I'm like just at one or two a day. But I was like a weed chain smoker for a long time. Sativa, just because I'm in the studio all the time, I'm working all the time, and I like uppers more than downers.
Most definitely. I can relate.
But otherwise, my Tizio hooked me up with a lot of this new strain from Cali Exotics. It's called Biscoff, and that shit is it's pretty crazy.
Hell yeah. We're gonna have to burn one when I come out to visit.
Absolutely, man.
Are you a backwoods, a cigarillo, or a
Nah,
paper kind of guy?
papers. I roll joints. I've just always smoked joints.
Amazing. Me too.
I grew up smoking joints.
I love the papers, bro. They're so much cleaner of a high to me.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ryan Harvey asks, how often are you formatting S's, or are you just clip gaining them?
I usually clip gain and clip effects them.
Nice.
Clip effects a lot more.
He also asks, where did you start when learning how to use RX?
Bro, you just dive in, man. Just fucking dive in. You can start using the individual modules for certain problem areas, but then when it's something that's a lot deeper that needs a lot more work, you're gonna have to like send it to RX and do that. And it's just just try out, like just trial and error, man. Try out each different thing they have. with learning the noise profiles and stuff like that. But the ones that are really cool are like the spectral repair. That one's really cool. And then the individual ones where like there was the song I just mixed recently, and the sample in it was a guitar. It had this crazy squeak that was not always at the same frequency. So just an EQ didn't work.
Mm.
It was just like this annoying, like just a squeak. And there's this mode I used in RX called D guitar D squeak, and that shit just worked wonders, man. It was insane.
Wow, that's a gem right there for sure.
Yeah. I think the one thing to remember when you're doing RX or just anything like that is don't just blanket process the whole track. It takes a lot more work and a lot more effort, but if you just go and find the problem areas and then just process those, you'll have a much more natural sounding song than just like trying to declick the whole track. Doesn't work that way.
Absolutely. The next question is, what is your favorite mix of all time, if you have one, and what was the reference you used when starting out with it?
I like Ski, man. I like Ski. That was good. I mean, I've always referenced records like I used to reference Rockstar a lot. Manny's mix, the Post and Savage song. Off late, I've been just referencing my own shit because I know what that sounds like, and I have the files easily accessible. If I'm mixing an artist, I like okay, like so since Slang Language, I mixed like Duke's whole album, Funk's whole album, Yak's whole album. So I'll go reference. These are all artists on YSL. So I'll go reference like their songs on Slam Language just to get an idea because I like the way that album came out. What else do I reference? I reference like if it's a new artist I'm working on, I'll go listen to stuff by them. Um, like going way back, there was a song by Metric called "Help I'm Alive" or something like that, and the delays on that were really crazy. I remember for like 2010, I used to listen to that in the club. That's always a good reference. The 808, the low end on that is just like insane.
Amazing. Wow. Um, our next question is, who influenced you the most as an engineer?
Uh, I mean, I look up to people like Mike Dean for sure. He's
Mm.
stuck with one cam for the most part and done some dope shit. Dave Pensado, Jason, Manny, uh, and people like my peers, people like Killen from District Sound Lab. He's dope as fuck. Stuart White, my homie Tizio, Alex, Keith, just my friends as well that are doing really cool shit, and we like talk to each other. And Keith will be like, "Yo, have you tried this? Try this." Cool little trick and stuff like that. Like we share stuff with each other, and it's actually really dope, man. Um, I like doing that.
Super dope. Super dope, man. D1 TV asks, which plugin did your SSL Fusion replace on your mix bus?
I don't do much with spatial stuff in the box anymore. Maybe that.
Mm.
I still use the Bax EQ, but I don't use it as often because I like kind of have a pre like I like mix into it with a little smiley face situation. And
Oh,
then what I really like is the high frequency compressor, and they just got a plug-in version of that too.
nice. Very cool. Our next question, they said, what are your top 10 go-to plugins? But I'm gonna say, what are your top 3 go-to plugins?
Soothe, Ruby, Ultramarine, Chicken Head. Those,
Dope.
those are pretty up there. And then Pro Q3, obviously. Pro MB as well, the 404 too. Um, and then RX, anything as Neutron, I use that a lot too. Um, I use a bunch of the DJ swivel shit for effects and all. BDE I've been using a lot more too.
Very cool. I love
Yeah.
BDE. I've been using that in parallel on a lot of my mixes for hi-hats or for 808s just to give some extra grit.
Yep. Yep. That shit's dope.
Um, I'm gonna go ahead and give everybody a last call for questions. If that's cool with you.
Yeah, let's do it.
And this will be the last chance. Go ahead and ask your final questions. We're gonna be moving on to the baby audio plugin giveaway. Are you ready to give away
Yeah,
some plugins?
let's do it. I feel my coffee wearing off as well now.
Speaking of that, are you a morning coffee kind of guy, an afternoon coffee kind of guy, and how much coffee per day are you drinking?
Actually, I don't like. I do tend to like. My girlfriend's a big coffee drinker, so like, I if she'll make one in the morning, I'll have one. It just depends. But
Mm,
if I'm at the studio, I'll usually have one, and then anything else you need to stay with.
dope, dope. Um,
Yeah.
I have one personal question for you, and that is, do you have any hobbies outside of music?
Uh, yeah. I used to like working out a lot, but I injured my shoulder, so I haven't been able to do that in a while. Um, I don't have any more real hobbies. I like spending time with my dogs. I don't know if that's a hobby, but yeah, I'm pretty music oriented. As everything is music for me.
Awesome. That's awesome. I'm very much the same way too. I just
What
mu-
do what do you have any hobbies?
uh I'll play a little bit of some Call of Duty on some Warzone, hence the name Kill
Nice,
Shot. But
nice.
I'm so
Yeah,
passionate about the music shit, man. I watched like probably 80 to 100 hours of YouTube a week, just new
yeah.
little tips, tricks, sauce,
That's
different
cool,
things.
man. I
Um,
I used to uh I used to game like growing up. Like I played a lot of Halo, but I haven't really uh been on it as much. I think ever since Halo got rid of the multiplayer, like the local multiplayer, uh, I like stopped playing. Like I used to play when I was with people. Uh, I just never been a big online guy.
mm, well, we'll have to play some Halo.
Yeah,
That sounds
yep,
fun.
definitely.
It's looking like we don't have any more questions, so we're gonna move forward into the plugin giveaway.
Yep.
The grand question, if you've been here, you will know the answer to this, and that is, what was the first opportunity Bainz had after he graduated Full Sail? We're gonna start the little tick 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 timer sound effects. We'll see who's listening. It was brought to my attention that the audio at the very beginning was potentially messed up. Not confirmed yet, but if nobody answers this question, we'll pick a new one. Oh, Hits by Harv says Dubway.
That's right.
There we go. Boom. Winner, winner, chicken
Uh,
dinner.
all right. Hits by heart.
Damn,
Congratulations, man.
son.
Those plugins are dope, man. I really like the baby audio stuff. There's some really cool people too.
Hell yeah. I love them. They're so kind. Very, very
Yeah.
dope. I don't know if you've seen, they have like a super vintage synth that they're making an emulation of
Oh,
right
really?
now.
Nice. I haven't tried Magic yet. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the little dice thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I haven't messed with that yet. But the what's it called, man? Their version of Soothe is really dope.
Smooth operator. Yeah, that's my
Smooth
favorite.
operator, exactly. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then even the VHS shit. They make some cool stuff.
Hey, if you ever find yourself preset hunting on Smooth Operator, I got two. Smooth Like Butter for vocals, and I have another one called MP3 Beat Control, and
Oh, nice.
they're both very nice.
All right, dope. I'll check it out.
Hell yeah. Well, hey Baines, I think we're getting to that time. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Somebody in
All
the
right, my brother.
somebody in the chat said I need to put you on to the Make Believe plugins. Have you been using those at all?
Yeah, I have them. I have the metric Halo stuff.
Yes.
I actually know some people that work with that company.
Dope.
Um, I need to. I need to mess around with the good math and all a little more.
Oh yeah, good math is super fire. That's one of my favorites. Also the MBEQ is super cool for just like frequency shaping and not creating like resonances around other ones.
Okay, cool. I'll check it out.
Yeah, I like both of those a lot. Um, but
MBEQ.
yep.
Cool.
Uh,
I'll check it out.
anyways, Bainz, I just want to say thank you again, man. I appreciate your time a lot. Been a super great pleasure. Keep being awesome, man. Keep paving the way for everybody. We're very thankful for you sharing the knowledge that kills, and we hope to see you again soon, buddy.
Cheers. Thank you, brother. Good to be here, man.
Hey, before you go, do you want to shout out how everybody can find you on maybe social media, your website, anything you want to shout out?
Yeah, well, website is Mixed by Bainz. Social media, Instagram handles BAINZZZ. Thank you for having me here, man. And I know my buddy Tio said he's gonna be on here next week or sometime soon, so I'm gonna jump in and check that out.
Yes, indeed.
All right, man. Take care.
Hey,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much, man. I hope to talk to you again soon.
Likewise. Thank you, guys. Peace.
Good night, buddy. Boom. And we're back. If you heard, did hear correctly. Next week, we have Mr. Tizio joining us for episode 12 of Knowledge That Kills. I want to give another special thank you to Bainz. Bainz is so great. He's so accomplished, very knowledgeable, and he's really, really just so genuine and smart. He's paving the way for us as audio engineers, and as always, we love to put the spotlight on the people out there really going and getting it. So make sure you head over to Instagram, give Bainz a follow. Make sure that you head over to his website, check out some of the awesome work he's done. I mean, this man has credits on credits on credits. Absolutely incredible to have had him here. And I want to say, lastly, thank you very much for tuning in to the show. It's been super great having everybody here to support. We're very grateful for y'all. And I hope you enjoyed episode 11 of Knowledge That Kills. I'm your host, Killshot. I'm out of here. I'm gone. Peace.